Welcome back to Closing Bell. Paul Theron.
Hey.
Let's talk about the LTRO. What exactly does this mean? And what does this mean for risky assets? Because when you look at that rand, R7.50 or so, I mean, can you believe the rand rally we've seen?
Yeah, look, it's one of those acronyms people throw around. LTRO tomorrow. What's your estimate for the LTRO? You're like, I'm talking about, 600 billion euros, blah, blah, blah. But understand what it really is. It's the ECB in Europe, which is providing funding for banks because banks can't access normal credit markets in the ways that they are at the moment. So the sign of big drawdowns would mean the banks are in a bit of trouble. So that's like not good. But if they don't need the funding...
So more than $600 billion, you mean?
Well, my big picture comment here is that the European banks are going to be fine. The Europeans have got lots of money and they will organize themselves. I wouldn't be buying European banks here because if they need lots of funding, then obviously they're not operating under normal conditions. But for me anyway, I don't see this as a big issue. I keep telling people the only conflict to watch out for in Europe is the European UEFA Champions League, the football, because only one team can win.
And
but
what
in the
team
case
is
of
that?
the banks,
What team is that, Paul?
Barcelona, of course. That's totally a foregone conclusion. So don't worry about that. Don't worry about these kinds of issues. I know it's the kind of crisis du jour, but I really think that it got solved 6 months ago, and what we're seeing now is the runoff.
If you're betting on sectors right now, which sectors would you be betting on?
Well, this is another one of my big bugbears at the moment. Why is it that the big resources stocks can only trade at like low multiples, whereas retailers get these high ratings? Well, it's really just because of the way the world is at the moment. People have views about what's happening in the future. Speaking of views in the future, can I just close off by saying the Mad Markets show this evening's got a very interesting interview with Tim Harris. He's the DA's finance minister, effectively, shadow finance minister. And I found it quite an interesting interview with him because he's kind of like not really clear on what the differences are between their policies and the ANC's. I would think that would be a major selling point. But then again, South Africans, at the vote, who knows about economics? It's only you and me that know about economics.
Well, that is some might say debatable, but just jokes, Paul. Thanks very much for joining us.